guy says, I'm seeing a lot of bay boats swapping to dual 300s versus single 450s, saying performance is much better, but not sure how they measure performance. Now, back to that 26 yellowfin that I went and looked at. It was, 26-foot bay boat with twin, I think the Mercury V6s, the 225s, which those are some bad motors. I mean,
right.
Great power to weight ratio and torquey little things, but it's I don't know, because I haven't experienced too many bay boats to know the performance differences, but I remember the police boat from the Keys having the twin. I think it was the same boat, 26 yellowfin with the twin V8s, the 300s, and that thing was a rocket ship.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know, having, I guess, double the torque, because really the V8s are torquey. Having double the torque just pushes that thing so quickly. It got up on plane like that, because you start getting into arguments about power versus weight, and twin 300s is 600 horse versus a single 450 and half the weight. You're at half the weight and you're only missing out on 150 horse. So what kind of performance are they talking about? I feel like top speed, you'll probably do better with the single 450.
I mean, also the stress on the engine, it's kind of the old saying of no replacement for displacement. So if you got, the single 450, you got 8 cylinders, whereas twin 300s, you've got 16 cylinders.
Right.
So you got a lot more power there.
There's less individual load on the engines.
Yeah. So
it'll last longer. I mean, it's double the cost, though.
It is double the cost.
Service, so that's a downside.
The 450s is also a supercharged engine, so
less reliable.
It's making, I don't know about less reliable, but it definitely, you're adding a supercharger to get that power over the naturally aspirated 300s. So I mean, it's kind of not even really in much of an argument, basically, because I guess what I'm trying to say is that you've got 2 V8s with 16 cylinders compared to a single 8-cylinder with same block. I mean, the 450's got the same cylinder bore as the V8s, doesn't it?
I think it does.
I think they're both 5.7s, 5.3s.
I can't remember all the differences. It's got the supercharger, but I think the valve train. No, I couldn't tell you the exact differences between the NAs and the 450.
I'll just keep talking.
Yeah, go ahead and Google that up. But I don't know. It's also better, I think, having the twins, because if one of them breaks down, you've still got that other engine to get you back. Whereas if you got a single,
it's a 4.6 liter.
It's a 4.6 liter. What's the 300? Isn't it a 4.6?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both 4.6s. Yeah, so it's the same motor. It's just slap a supercharger and change a couple of components around, like maybe injectors.
But again, you're trying to, you're going from, 16 4.6 liter cylinders to 8 4.6 liter with a supercharger. So yeah, it is 150 horsepower more, obviously.
I think you worded that wrong. 16 4.6 liter cylinders?
Yeah. 2 V8s, 16 cylinders.
Right. But I'm sorry, the way you made it sound is like each cylinder is 4.6 liters. Like that's a that's a honker right there, dude. You got that motor on the back of your going to the moon.
Yeah.
If it'll float.
But and then comparing the V8 to the L6 or the V6, the V6 is a 3.4. So yeah, I was messed up because I was thinking about the V10 now, and the V10 I think is a 5.3 in that what's the 600? 6.7?
Yeah, I think it is a 6.7. see.
Yeah, it's a 5.7 for the V10.
You were thinking 5.3 for the Yamaha, man.
Yeah, the Yamaha.
You're getting all
350.
mixed up around here, dude.
There's too many engines, dude. I can't keep them all straight. You know
and then what's the XTO? That's
the XTO is a 5.7. No, 5.6.
5.6. Oh man, too many different individual ones to remember. Let's see if you got that one right.
Yeah, the 425 is a 5.6. The old 350s
Or 5.3s.
V8 were 5.3s. 200s a 2.8. The 150s a 1.7.
Mercury V8
L6 is a 2.6. The V8's a 4.3. The V4 is a 3.4.
4.3. Didn't we just say it was 4.6?
Hmm?
The V8 Mercury?
Too many. It's too many.
I think we're getting off topic though, because he's saying he's not sure how they measure performance. They say it's the performance is much better, but how are they measuring performance when it comes to dual 300s versus a single 450?
I don't know how they're doing the performance, because to me, I mean, obviously the twin 300s, if the budget allows for that, I would always go for those, because that single 450, it's the same concept in my mind. It's the same concept of these big boats that load up the back of the engine, the back of the boat with the L6 Verado. You're talking about a 2.6 liter supercharged engine. Yeah, they make 350, 400 horsepower, but it's a small cylinder. Mm-hmm. Whereas these V8s and these V10s and these, V12s and all that, you're talking about a big cylinder. The displacement, there's no replacement for displacement. So the bigger the displacement, the more load you're going to be able to push. Mm-hmm. So without the stress. So, these big, heavy 28,000 pound, 40 foot boat that you're pushing through the water with those little cylinders with the supercharger, so you can get that horsepower up, it just doesn't work the same. I mean, you can do that in a car, because a car doesn't weigh that much, and you got, these Porsches and Lamborghinis, they got small cylinders because they're not moving a heavy load. That's why you use diesels for weight. You want that power to be able to move that weight.
Right.
So, if you supercharge the engine to get the horsepower, that's fine up until a certain weight. Once you get so heavy, you're just bogging that motor down, because it's going to produce all that horsepower, but it's still
working harder.
It's working
to make that
mm-hmm.
horsepower.
Well, not that. It's working harder to move the weight.
Right.
It's trying to move more than it, really should be. Whereas the two, you add 2 300s, that's a lot of power and displacement to push, the 26 foot boat, which it's going to be able to handle that weight. There's going to be there's no boat in front of it, because it's just got so much power.
I see what you mean in terms of the reliability of the engines too, and
mm-hmm.
how hard they're working. But you've also got double the weight. So how does that affect fuel consumption? Maybe performance.
Well, at the same time, to go the same speed. So performance-wise, if you're trying to go the same speed, let's say you're cruising at 35, 40 miles an hour, mm-hmm. That 450 is going to be running a lot more RPM. So you're going to be burning a lot more fuel. I mean, obviously, two engines are going to burn more.
Or what if they mean performance is just outright top speed? Are the twins going to be faster than a single with double the weight?
I would imagine. I mean, you're adding drag because you're adding another lower unit and another prop in the water, but at the same time, your engine's producing a lot more. You can prop it a lot differently. Mm-hmm. So I'd imagine you get way more top speed out of those twins, even though, the single is less drag. But
so general consensus then is the twins, despite the cost being more,
mm-hmm.
is the better way to go for general performance, for all around.
Yeah, I'm going 300s. I mean, it ain't my pocket, it's not my budget. So if I had the budget, I would do the 300s over the single 450.
Mm-hmm.